Jack Lawson, an ordinary mechanic with Australian roots, toiled away in one of the many factories controlled by the oppressive empire. The rhythmic clanging of machinery was a constant in his life, a stark reminder of the empire's dominance over Earth. The soldiers patrolled the factory, their presence a symbol of tyranny. Jack had spent years repairing the empire's war machines, each day eroding his spirit further. During a routine lunch break, Jack witnessed an event that would change everything. In the town square, a public execution was underway. The empire's soldiers had captured a resistance leader who, despite his battered appearance, stood with defiance. The sight of the execution, swift and brutal, sparked something deep within Jack. As the crowd dispersed, Jack remained, staring at the spot where the leader had fallen. Anger and frustration boiled within him. He could no longer stand by and watch his world crumble under the empire's iron fist. The spark of rebellion ignited in his heart, and he knew he had to act. That evening, Jack sought out Captain Foster, an old war veteran with stories etched into his weathered face. Foster had seen many battles and had fought against the empire in his younger days. Over shared drinks in a dimly lit tavern, Foster recounted tales of past uprisings, of bravery and sacrifice. Jack found a flicker of hope in those stories, a call to action he could not ignore. Jack, the empire thrives on fear and submission. If we don't stand up, they'll keep tightening their grip until there's nothing left of our world, Foster said, his eyes reflecting a hardened resolve. Despite his fears for his family's safety, Jack couldn't turn away. He sought out the resistance, pledging to fight for a future free from the empire's ruthless control. The resistance welcomed him, and he soon met his new comrades. Sarah, a sharp-witted engineer with a knack for creating improvised weapons, and Marcus, a hulking brute whose strength was matched only by his loyalty. Together, they formed a formidable team. Their first mission was to sabotage an Imperial supply convoy. It was a perilous task, requiring precision and bravery. As they approached the convoy under the cover of darkness, Jack's heart raced. This was his first real test. "Stick to the plan," Sarah whispered, her eyes scanning the surroundings for any sign of danger. They set the charges on the convoy's fuel tanks and retreated to a safe distance. The explosion was deafening, a brilliant display of defiance against the Empire. Jack felt a surge of triumph, but it was short-lived. The Empire's response was swift and brutal. Patrols doubled, and the Resistance found themselves constantly on the run. During one of their missions, they encountered Corporal Quinn, a cunning traitor who had infiltrated their ranks. Quinn's betrayal cost the Resistance dearly, resulting in the capture of several key members. Jack was furious, vowing to bring Quinn to justice. The Resistance regrouped, planning their next move. They knew they had to strike a significant blow to the Empire to ignite a full-scale rebellion. The target, the Empire's central communication hub. Destroying it would cripple their control and inspire uprisings across the planet. Jack's induction into the Resistance was swift. He met his new comrades, Sarah, a sharp-witted engineer with a knack for creating improvised weapons, and Marcus, a hulking brute whose strength was matched only by his loyalty. Together, they formed a formidable team. Their first mission was to sabotage an Imperial supply convoy. It was a risky endeavor, requiring precision and bravery. As they approached the convoy under the cover of night, Jack's heart raced. This was his first real test. "Stick to the plan," Sarah whispered, her eyes scanning the surroundings for any sign of danger. They set the charges on the convoy's fuel tanks and retreated to a safe distance. The explosion was deafening, a brilliant display of defiance against the Empire. Jack felt a surge of triumph, but it was short-lived. The Empire's response was swift and brutal. Patrols doubled, and the Resistance found themselves constantly on the run. During one of their missions, they encountered Corporal Quinn, a cunning traitor who had infiltrated their ranks. Quinn's betrayal cost the Resistance dearly, resulting in the capture of several key members. Jack was furious, vowing to bring Quinn to justice. The Resistance regrouped, planning their next move. They knew they had to strike a significant blow to the Empire to ignite a full-scale rebellion. The target, the Empire's central communication hub. Destroying it would cripple their control and inspire uprisings across the planet. The night of the mission arrived. Jack and his team, clad in dark clothing and armed with explosives, made their way to the communication hub. The air was thick with anticipation, every shadow a potential threat. "Remember, this is for our freedom," Jack said, his voice steady despite the anxiety gnawing at him. As they reached the perimeter, they encountered heavy resistance. The Empire's soldiers were well prepared, and a fierce battle ensued. Bullets and laser fire illuminated the night. Jack's heart pounded as he dodged incoming fire, returning shots with deadly accuracy. Sarah and Marcus fought valiantly by his side, their coordinated efforts keeping the enemy at bay. Amidst the chaos, Jack managed to infiltrate the hub's control room. He set the charges, but not without sustaining a severe wound. Blood seeped through his shirt, but he pressed on, determined to see the mission through. With a final effort, Jack triggered the explosives. The resulting explosion was massive, a testament to the Resistance's resolve. The hub was destroyed, and with it, the Empire's primary means of communication on Earth. Jack collapsed, the pain overwhelming him, but a sense of victory washed over him as he slipped into unconsciousness. Jack Lawson awoke in a dimly lit room, the sterile scent of antiseptics filling his nostrils. Pain coursed through his body, a reminder of the recent battle at the communication hub. He slowly became aware of his surroundings, a makeshift medical tent filled with injured Resistance fighters. The mission had succeeded, but the cost had been high. Sarah appeared at his side, her face a mix of relief and concern. "You did it, Jack. The hub is down, and uprisings have started all over the planet." Jack struggled to sit up, wincing at the effort. "What about Marcus and the others?" "Marcus is fine. He's out there rallying more people to our cause. But we lost a lot of good men and women," Sarah replied, her voice heavy with sorrow. Jack nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. There was no time to dwell on their losses. The Empire would retaliate, and they needed to be ready. "Help me up," Jack said, determination hardening his resolve. "We have work to do." With Sarah's assistance, Jack stood and limped towards the command center. The Resistance was buzzing with activity, planning their next move. Captain Foster was at the helm, coordinating efforts with the precision of a seasoned strategist. "Good to see you up, Jack," Foster greeted him, a grim smile on his face. "We've got reports coming in from all over. People are fighting back, but the Empire is regrouping. They're preparing for a massive counterattack." Jack took a deep breath, pushing aside his pain. "We need to keep the momentum going. We can't let them crush this rebellion before it even starts." Foster nodded in agreement. "We have a new target. The Empire's primary supply depot is vulnerable. If we can take it out, we'll cut off their resources and slow them down." Sarah stepped forward, her eyes glinting with resolve. "I'll gather the team. We'll need all the firepower we can get." As they prepared for the mission, Jack couldn't shake the feeling of unease. Corporal Quinn, the traitor who had betrayed them, was still out there. His betrayal had cost them dearly, and Jack knew he couldn't rest until Quinn was brought to justice. The Resistance moved swiftly, infiltrating the supply depot under the cover of night. The tension was thick, every rustle and whisper magnified in the silence. They navigated through the depot's defenses, planting explosives on key structures. "Stay focused," Jack whispered to his team. "We can't afford any mistakes." Just as they were about to set the final charge, the alarm sounded. Empire soldiers poured into the depot, weapons at the ready. The element of surprise was lost, and chaos erupted. "Fall back," Jack shouted, firing his weapon at the advancing soldiers. Sarah and Marcus covered their retreat, laying down suppressive fire. The Resistance fought with desperation, each moment a struggle for survival. Jack's heart pounded as he dodged enemy fire, returning shots with deadly precision. In the midst of the chaos, Jack spotted a familiar face, Corporal Quinn. The traitor was directing the Empire's forces, a smug grin on his face. Fury surged through Jack, and he charged towards Quinn, determined to end his treachery once and for all. Quinn saw Jack coming and raised his weapon. They exchanged fire, each shot bringing them closer to a final confrontation. Jack's resolve hardened with each step, the memory of his fallen comrades driving him forward. "Traitor!" Jack shouted, his voice cutting through the din of battle. Quinn sneered, his eyes filled with malice. You're too late, Lawson. The Empire will crush you all. They clashed in a brutal fight, fists and weapons colliding with bone-crunching force. Jack's determination gave him strength, and he fought with everything he had. The battle raged on, neither man willing to give an inch. Finally, with a swift, decisive blow, Jack disarmed Quinn and knocked him to the ground. The traitor lay there, defeated and powerless. "It's over, Quinn," Jack said, his voice cold and unwavering. "You'll pay for what you've done." The resistance had managed to hold off the Empire's forces long enough to detonate the charges. Explosions rocked the depot, sending plumes of smoke and fire into the sky. The Empire's supply lines were crippled, and the resistance had won another victory. Jack stood amidst the wreckage, breathing heavily. The mini-climax of their triumph was tempered by the losses they had endured. But there was no time to rest. The fight for freedom was far from over. As dawn broke, casting a pale light over the battlefield, Jack knew they had taken a significant step forward. The resistance had shown their strength, and the Empire would not take them lightly again. Jack Lawson stood amidst the remnants of the recently destroyed supply depot. The previous night's victory was a significant blow to the Empire, but the war was far from over. He could see the steely determination in his comrades' eyes. Each one of them knew the next steps would be even more challenging. Sarah, the sharp-witted engineer, was already at work analyzing the debris for any useful information. "We need to figure out where their next move will be," she said, her voice carrying the weight of urgency. Marcus, the hulking brute of a man whose strength had saved them more than once, joined them. "We should anticipate a heavy response. They won't take this loss lightly." Jack nodded, his mind racing through their options. "Captain Foster, what do you think?" he asked, turning to the veteran who had become their de facto leader. Foster scratched his grizzled chin, eyes narrowing as he considered the possibilities. "They'll likely reinforce their Central Command. If we hit them there, we can cripple their coordination." "Central Command is heavily fortified," Sarah pointed out. "We'll need a precise plan and better equipment." "I've been working on that," Marcus replied, a rare grin breaking across his stern face. "We've got some new toys courtesy of our friends in the northern sector." They gathered around as Marcus unveiled a collection of high-tech devices and weaponry. "These will give us an edge," he explained. "Portable shields, advanced explosives, and a few surprises." As they strategized, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that their success depended on more than just firepower. "We need to rally more people to our cause," he said. "The more support we have, the better our chances." Foster agreed. "Jack's right. We'll split into two teams. One will prepare for the assault on Central Command, and the other will recruit and mobilize additional forces." Jack and Sarah were assigned to the recruitment team. Their mission: travel to the nearby towns and villages to inspire the populace to join the rebellion. The journey was perilous, but Jack knew it was necessary. They needed every able body they could muster. They set out at dawn, navigating through dense forests and abandoned roads. Along the way, they encountered remnants of the Empire's patrols, which they dispatched with precision and stealth. The further they traveled, the more they saw the Empire's grip on the land. Burnt homes, desolate fields, and despair etched on the faces of those they met. In a small village, Jack and Sarah addressed a gathering of locals. "The Empire has taken enough from us," Jack declared, his voice ringing with conviction. "It's time to stand up and fight back." Sarah demonstrated the new equipment, showing the villagers how they could use it to defend themselves. "We need your help," she said. "Together, we can drive them out and reclaim our freedom." The villagers were hesitant at first, but the passion in Jack's words and the practicality of Sarah's demonstrations began to sway them. One by one, they stepped forward, pledging their support. As night fell, Jack and Sarah gathered with their new recruits around a campfire. They shared stories of their struggles, building a sense of camaraderie and unity. Jack saw hope in their eyes, a spark that he knew would fuel the rebellion. The next day, they continued their journey, visiting more towns and rallying more people. Each success bolstered their ranks and strengthened their resolve. By the time they returned to the Resistance's base, they had a small army ready to fight. Meanwhile, Foster and Marcus had been preparing for the assault on Central Command. The new equipment was tested, and the strategy was refined. They had identified weak points in the Empire's defenses and devised a plan to exploit them. Jack rejoined the main group, bringing with him the newfound recruits. The base buzzed with activity as everyone prepared for the upcoming battle. The sense of purpose was palpable, each person driven by the desire for freedom. As the final preparations were made, Jack stood before the assembled forces. "We've come a long way," he said, his voice steady and strong. "We've faced hardships and losses, but we've also achieved victories. Tomorrow, we strike at the heart of the Empire. We fight not just for ourselves, but for our future." The resistance fighters cheered, their spirits lifted by Jack's words. They knew the risks, but they also knew the stakes. The battle ahead would be fierce, but they were ready. That night, as Jack lay in his tent, he thought about the journey they had undertaken. The hardships, the losses, the victories, they had all led to this moment. The next day would be crucial, and he vowed to give everything he had to ensure their success. Dawn broke over the resistance base, casting long shadows as the fighters assembled. The final battle against the Empire loomed, and every soul present felt the gravity of the moment. Jack Lawson, now fully recovered from his injuries, stood at the forefront, his presence a rallying point for the gathered rebels. Sarah, the sharp-witted engineer, was finalizing the modifications on their equipment. "We've upgraded the shields and reinforced the explosives," she explained. "These will give us a fighting chance." Marcus, the towering enforcer, checked his weapon one last time. "We'll need every advantage we can get. Their defenses will be formidable." Captain Foster addressed the assembled forces. "Today, we strike at the heart of the Empire. Their central command is our target. Crippling it will disrupt their entire operation on Earth." Jack felt a surge of determination as he looked at his comrades. "Remember why we fight," he said, his voice steady. "For our families, our freedom, and our future." The plan was simple but perilous. They would infiltrate the heavily fortified Central Command, plant explosives at key points, and withdraw before the detonation. Timing and coordination were crucial. The journey to the command center was tense. The resistance moved swiftly and silently through the forests and abandoned streets, their resolve unshakable. As they approached their target, the air grew thick with anticipation. "Stay focused," Jack whispered to his team. "We can't afford any mistakes." They reached the perimeter and began their assault. The Empire's defenses were robust, but the rebels fought with unparalleled ferocity. Jack led the charge, his movements precise and purposeful. Each step forward was a testament to their courage and determination. The battle raged on as the rebels pushed deeper into the facility. Sarah and her team worked quickly, setting the explosives while Marcus and the others provided cover. The sounds of gunfire and explosions filled the air, a symphony of resistance. Just as they were nearing the final target, a group of Empire soldiers ambushed them. Jack's heart raced as he engaged in a fierce firefight, his instincts honed by countless skirmishes. Beside him, Sarah and Marcus fought valiantly, their teamwork a testament to their bond. Suddenly, Jack spotted a familiar face. Corporal Quinn, the traitor who had caused them so much pain. Quinn was directing the Empire's troops, a smug grin on his face. "Quinn!" Jack shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. Quinn's grin faltered as he realized who was coming for him. The two locked eyes, and in that moment, the battle between them became intensely personal. They exchanged fire, each shot a declaration of their resolve. As Jack closed in, Quinn threw a grenade, forcing Jack to dive for cover. The explosion rocked the corridor, but Jack emerged unscathed. He charged at Quinn, the memory of fallen comrades fueling his every move. They clashed in a brutal hand-to-hand fight, fists and weapons colliding with bone-crunching force. Jack's anger gave him strength, and he fought with everything he had. The battle was fierce, each strike echoing the weight of their past. Finally, with a decisive blow, Jack disarmed Quinn and pinned him to the ground. The traitor lay there, defeated and powerless. "It's over, Quinn," Jack said, his voice cold and unwavering. "You'll answer for your betrayal." The resistance fighters secured Quinn and continued their mission. Sarah finished setting the last explosive, and they began their retreat. The timer ticked down as they raced against the clock to escape the facility. As they reached the exit, the ground trembled beneath their feet. The explosives detonated, sending shockwaves through the command center. Flames and smoke billowed into the sky, a testament to their success. The mini-climax of their triumph was tempered by the losses they had endured, but it was a victory nonetheless. The Empire's command structure was in shambles, and the rebellion had struck a significant blow. As the rebels regrouped at their base, the sense of achievement was palpable. They had faced incredible odds and emerged victorious. Jack looked around at his comrades, feeling a deep sense of pride and gratitude. Captain Foster approached him, a rare smile on his face. "We did it, Jack. The Empire's grip on Earth is weakening." Jack nodded, his resolve unshaken. "There's still more to do, but today, we've shown them that we won't be broken." The dawn of a new day brought hope and renewed determination. The battle was far from over, but the resistance had proven their strength and resilience. They would continue to fight, driven by the belief that freedom was within their grasp.